I have such a different story because it's usually the mom who leads the faith in the family, and I was the last one standing. My name is Kelly Walsh, and I got baptized and confirmed in April of 2023. I did not come from a previous faith. My dad was an atheist. My mom basically said, believe in God because if he doesn't exist, it won't matter when you die. I've been with my husband for 34 years, and he's Catholic. We went through the marriage counseling, and he wasn't quite sure he was going to be able to marry a non-Catholic, but thankfully he did. I'd ask him questions, and they wouldn't quite jive, or he'd kind of maybe feel like I should know that, even though I hadn't been educated. So I would get frustrated, and I'd say, I don't want to be Catholic. I don't want to be like that. We have 3 children, and we went to Mass with our kids every Sunday. My kids were faithful, but you know, they'd go Sundays. Sometimes they'd cheat and drive down there and act like they went into Mass, and they didn't. My oldest son was at the University of Washington, and when my husband would go up to see him, he would always try to get him to go to the Newman Center, which are the Catholic churches based on university campuses. His fraternity brothers were, you know, they'd go party, they'd go do their thing. My son would participate, and then his friends from the Newman Center, the Focus missionaries, they'd say, Brendan, will you bring your fraternity brothers to discipleship or to Bible study? And he'd say, okay. And he was a finance major, had a job going to New York. And his junior year, he really started to feel like he was living a double life with his fraternity friends and the Newman Center friends. And the Newman Center guys, with his job in New York, had said, why don't you come to this Focus interview and see if you want to be a missionary? And he called and he told us, and we said, of course, whatever you want to do. You know, you don't have to be in finance, you can be a missionary, whatever you want to do. So we went to Colorado when he got the job, and he really just started to take off with his Catholic faith. When he came home for Thanksgiving, I just asked him, I said, what changed your mind? He said, Mom, I went to discipleship one time, and the question of the day, it's just men's group, and the question of the day was, what do you think your future wife is doing? And he said, oh my gosh, I hope not what I'm doing. And from that moment forward, he just dedicated his life to Jesus. Sorry. So he got the job. He came home for Christmas, and he said, Mom, I really want you to become Catholic. I want your soul saved. And my background, I didn't believe in sin. I didn't believe that Jesus was the Son of God. So Brendan, my son, said, Mom, will you spend 2 weeks with me doing Bible study so I can practice for what I'm going to have to do next year? And he's like, just 3 or 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And I was like, you want to spend 3 or 4 hours with me for 2 weeks? I'm like, I'm in. I don't even care what we're talking about. Well, my son is very kind, compassionate, understanding, very loving, quiet, humble. I could ask him any question, and he never, ever rolled his eyes. And he started from the beginning, and it wasn't just 4 or 5 hours. We spent like 7 or 8 hours. We'd get off topic, and he would just say, well, let's look at it. And I'd say, I don't believe in sin, Brendan. And he said, Mom, you're taking that word out of context. He said, Mom, if I were to come home and tell you that I stole a pack of gum, which is really insignificant, would you say, okay, you really wanted the gum, that was okay? And I'd say, no, never steal anything. Come home and tell me you want something. If you really, really want it, I'll get it for you. He's like, exactly. Like it's black or white. And if you stray, you need to be able to apologize. Because if I stole the pack of gum, what would you want me to do? And I'd say, go apologize. It was like I just needed everything described in a very kindergarten way without somebody looking down on me for not knowing or not believing. There's so many things that he explained and described to me that made me go, okay, I'm open to this. I started the RCIA process, because then it was called the RCIA. And I kind of went in thinking, I'm gonna do this for my son, and I'm gonna complete it, but I'm probably not gonna feel it all. So I really went into it looking at all the churches around to see what would be the quickest. One of them had like a 4-month on a Friday night, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. But my sponsor, who is amazing, She's been a good friend of mine for a long time. She kind of knew where I was coming from. And she's like, let's just do it right. So the inquiry night, first night, I was in my car and I thought, oh, this is gonna be so long. Even though I was feeling open to it, I still didn't feel immersed in it. And so I thought, you know what do I have to lose? I'm not gonna lie about anything. I'm not gonna act like I know, I'm not gonna act like I believe everything, and I'm gonna ask questions. I walked in and probably gave them a heart attack. One of the ladies said, I went home and I told my husband, somebody's an inquirer that didn't believe in sin or that Jesus was the Son of God. And they just answered all my questions, and they were very patient. We'd go to Mass together with the RCIA group, and then you'd leave when the Eucharist was being given out, and then you had a study session. And they said it would be like an hour and a half. But you'd read the gospel, you'd dissect it, and then you'd ask questions about it. And it really became a source of want for me to want to learn more, because all of a sudden I felt Jesus, you know? We weren't baptized, confirmed, and hadn't received the Eucharist before, so we got to do the whole shebang on the Easter Vigil, which was amazing. The OCIA process in the community was, I guess if for lack of a better word, just family. God has a plan, and I feel like having Jesus in my heart now just makes that so much more sure. I had it in me, but now it's like glued to me. It was just the most amazing experience of my life.